Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm SAHIH and you're watching Updates at Noon. Our headlines for today. Young talents should be given space and freedom for artistic talents. Government to strengthen management of refugees in Malaysia. Young talents must be given the space and freedom to convey their artistic expression so that they can come up with high-quality products. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, in a press conference after attending the premiere of Anwar The Untold Story in Kuala Lumpur last night, described the film as intelligent as it managed to encapsulate his 23 years of political journey in 90 minutes.
Saya tentunya tidak tahu tapi oleh kerana ini hasil seni yang daya cipta dan kreativiti itu harus ada. Kita berikan ruang agak bebas. Sudah kadang-kadang ada singgung kritikan termasuk abang saya dan adik saya cuma dimasukkan. Saya tidak cadang untuk edit apa-apa. Jadi kerana saya percaya dalam pembikinan filem ataupun hasil kreatif harus diberikan sedikit ruang kebebasan. Dan ini saya rasa juga pendekatan baru finas supaya ada wewenang, discretion. Tetapi prinsip seni ini harus lebih bebas untuk memastikan kreativiti itu tercungkil.
Earlier, Datuk Seri Anwar attended the film premiere with his wife, Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail. The couple arrived at the screening location at Dadi Cinema Pavilion at about 8:15 p.m. to chants of reformasi by those present. Among other notable attendees at the event organised by the film's distributor, DMY Creation, were Home Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail, Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fazil and DMY Creation founder and chairman Datuk Muhammad Yusof. More than 250 guests comprising political figures, creative industry players, as well as famous local personalities including Datuk Seri Siti Nurhaliza also present at the event. Anwar, The Untold Story is directed by Indonesian Viva Vesti, with local actor Farid Kamil Zahari playing the role of Anwar, while Indonesian Acha Sentiasa plays the role of Dr. Wan Azizah. The film, set between 1993 and 1998, narrates Anwar's journey as Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance during the period as well as his struggle against corruption. It will be screened nationwide on 18th May. The government would emphasise planning and efforts to strengthen the management of refugees and asylum seekers through 4 main improvement clusters. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said the government was very concerned on the significant increase in the numbers of refugees and asylum seekers holding UNHCR cards in Malaysia. The number of UNHCR card holders in the country has increased exponentially from 75,617 people in 2009 to 185,760 people as of March this year. Thus, he said, the government is looking to establish committees and special task forces, as well as increasing the capacity and involvement of government agencies in determining the status of refugees. He said this in a statement after chairing the meeting of the High-Level Committee on the Management of Refugees and Asylum Seekers in Putrajaya yesterday. The Deputy Prime Minister also called on government entities, UNHCR, and non-governmental bodies, local and foreign, to work in tandem to ensure the country's security and sovereignty. The Ombudsman Malaysia Bill is now at the finalisation stage and is expected to be tabled at Parliament in October. According to a minister in the Prime Minister's Department of Law and Institutional Reform, Dato Sri Azalina Othman, the bill will provide a clearer functions on Ombudsman and also include the management of public complaints against government departments or agencies.
How do we differentiate? What kind of complaints we're looking at? My personal view as the law minister ialah, my view is that we must look at ombudsman to look at agency that deals with the public. That is my view. Kalau agensi itu dia tak deal dengan public, I mean, to me, the complaint can be in-house, but yang deal dengan public. For example, macam KP kata, one of the biggest problem is local council. People are not happy. Dia pergi, dia daftar, dia tunggu. There's so many things they're not happy because they're paying for the services. So where do they go? So these are the things that we want to do with this libat urus, to fine-tune. What kind of ombudsman model are we looking at?
She further noted that the Ombudsman Malaysia's policies would be based on the Ombudsman policies and laws in other countries such as the United Kingdom and New Zealand. The minister added that the establishment of Ombudsman Malaysia, an independent body to address the wide range of public complaints against government department or agencies, is in line with the unity government's agenda, which emphasises transparency and integrity. Coming up next, 4 arrested in connection with Pulau Pinang car vandalism cases. Police have arrested 2 men and 2 women in connection with 3 cases of cars being vandalised in Pulau Pinang on 30th April, which were linked to illegal money lenders. The 2 men were apparently debtors to a loan from Singapore and were forced to harass other borrowers after failing to repay their own debts as RM1,000 to RM2,000. State Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Shuhairi Muhammad Zain said on 30th April, police received a report from a 40-year-old woman who said her son's Perodua Kelisa car was burnt and spray painted in an incident at 4:30 a.m. in Bukit Tengah. Police later received 2 more reports of similar incidents in Bukit Minyak and Air Hitam involving a Perodua Alza and Myvi on the same day. Through a CCTV check, police managed to locate a couple in Jalan Kuala Kangsar, Ipoh on 4th May, asleep in the car. Based on information from them, police then arrested a man in Taman Pakatan Jaya, Ulu Kinta at 6:10 a.m. on the same day. 2 days later, police arrested a 30-year-old woman in Kampung Simi, Ipoh. An investigation found that the 2 men had failed to repay their debts to loan sharks. They were then promised a reduction in outstanding debts if they splash paint and burn cars belonging to other borrowers, and were even given a wage of RM700 through the Touch and Go e-wallet. All of the suspects are currently being remanded to assist with the investigation. The case is being investigated under Section 5, Subsection 2 of the Money Lenders Act 1951, as well as Section 435 of Penal Code. Meanwhile, Dato' Muhammad Shuhairi said Pulau Pinang police managed to foil a drug syndicate after detaining 9 individuals believed to be involved in the illegal activity. All of the suspects, consisting of 5 foreign men and women, as well as 2 local men aged from 22 to 46 years old, came from 2 different syndicates. They were arrested at several locations in Air Hitam, Georgetown and Pematang Pau.
Aktiviti ini aktif sejak awal tahun 2022 dan keseluruhan dadah yang dirampas boleh digunakan oleh seramai 99,235 orang. So keseluruhan rampasan dadah pelbagai jenis dan sitaan dalam 2 serbuan ini membawa kepada nilai RM370,806.
The police initially raided a house here at 2:30 p.m. on 2nd May and arrested a couple, a local man and his Vietnamese wife, aged 32 and 34 respectively. The police seized various types of drugs consisting of methylene dioxide, methamphetamine, ketamine, shabu, ecstasy and Aramin 5 pills. Following the arrest, he said the police raided a house in Air Hitam on the same day at 6 p.m. and arrested a Vietnamese couple aged 40 and 42 and seized various types of drugs worth RM104,296. The police then raided a car wash shop in Pematang Pau on 5th May and arrested 3 Myanmar men aged between 22 and 26 and seized 45 transparent packets weighing 47,000 grams worth RM146,000. He said the police arrested 2 local men aged 34 and 46 in Perai and Butterworth on a day later and seized 1,812 grams of heroin worth RM14,988 from them. 2 of the suspects, who were remanded for a week, tested positive for drugs, while 4 of them had criminal records. our foreign front, Sudan conflict death toll climbs to 551. Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim will attend the 42nd Asian Summit in West Manggarai, Indonesia starting today, which will be divided into plenary session and retreat session. He will also chair the Brunei Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, East ASEAN Growth Area, BIMP IGA Summit and the Indonesia-Malaysia Thailand Growth Triangle Summit, IMTGT. Foreign Minister Dato Sri Zamri Abdul Kadir in a statement said these two summits will further strengthen cooperation aimed at increasing cross-border activities in an effort to further increase the value of trade and investment in the regions. The Prime Minister is also expected to attend a meeting with the representatives of Asian Youth, the Asian Inter-Parliamentary Assembly, the Asian Business Advisory Council and the High-Level Task Force on Asian Community Post 2025 Vision. 8 government leaders from 10 ASEAN countries will attend the summit except for Myanmar and Thailand. A roadmap to enable Timor-Leste participation in ASEAN Group and Myanmar crisis will be among the main focus of the 42nd Asian Summit in Labuan Bajo, Indonesia. Foreign Minister Dato Sri Dr. Zamri Abdul Kadir said the summit will also touch on other current issues pertaining to the common interests of Asian region.
Dan kita menjangkakan bahawa hasil daripada pertemuan mesyuarat pemimpin-pemimpin peringkat tertinggi ini akan dikeluarkan kenyataan bersama dan kita akan menjangkakan nanti ada kenyataan-kenyataan yang baik dalam usaha kita untuk membentuk komuniti ASEAN, apa yang dipanggil sebagai ASEAN Centrality dan ASEAN sebagai pasak pertumbuhan yang dibina mulai sekarang dan masa hadapan.
He said this in a special conference in conjunction with the 42nd ASEAN Summit in Labuan Bajo, Indonesia. The conflict still went on in the Sudanese capital Khartoum on Sunday as the death toll climbed to at least 551. The country's health ministry said at least 551 people have been killed and more than 5,000 injured since the fighting began in mid-April. The foreign ministers of Arab League countries at an emergency meeting in Cairo on Sunday agreed to set up a tripartite liaison committee to work for resolving the ongoing conflict. Fighting between the Sudanese Armed Forces SAF and the rival paramilitary Rapid Support Forces RSF in Khartoum and other areas erupted on 15 April, with the two sides accusing each other of initiating the conflict, which has pushed the country to the edge of a humanitarian crisis. According to the United Nations statistics, thousands of Sudanese citizens have been displaced or forced to seek refuge in safe areas in Sudan and neighboring countries including Egypt, Ethiopia and Chad. Ukraine's Reconstruction Ministry yesterday said Russia has effectively stopped the Black Sea grain deal by refusing to register incoming vessels. Ukrainian Black Sea ports were blockaded after Russia's invasion last year, but access to 3 of them was cleared last July under a deal between Moscow and Kiev that was brokered by the United Nations and Turkey. According to a statement by the Ukrainian Reconstruction Ministry, the Russian Federation once again effectively stopped the grain initiative by refusing to register incoming vessels and carry out their inspections. It said this approach contradicts the terms of the current agreement. The statement further explained that the 90 ships, including 62 vessels for loading, were waiting in Turkey's territorial waters for approval to go to Ukrainian ports. The deal expires on 18 May, but Moscow has threatened to quit the agreement intended to help ease a global food crisis. Turkey and the United Nations are working to extend the deal. Canada's oil and gas producers shut down some of their production after Alberta was hit by an unprecedented wildfire season, although rain and cooler weather are expected to bring some relief. The country's main oil-producing province declared a state of emergency on Saturday due to wildfires, shutting production of at least 185,000 barrels of oil equivalent per day, or about 2% of total Canadian output, and displacing nearly 30,000 residents. Canada is home to the world's third largest reserve, and most of these are in northern Alberta's vast oil sands. More than 100 wildfires are still active, with more than 30 classified as out of control. A mix of cooler temperatures and rain is forecast, which authorities hope will contain the situation. Some 80 firefighters arrived from Quebec and Ontario to help efforts, with more expected to arrive from other provinces. Production by the companies is expected to be restored once the wildfires come under control, as there are so far no reports of significant damage to infrastructure. A 2016 wildfire in the Alberta city of Fort McMurray devastated some 1,600 buildings and put another 19,000 under threat of collapse, making it one of Canada's worst. Dead bodies were still being recovered yesterday from two villages in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, where floods killed more than 400 people last week in one of the country's deadliest disasters in recent history. Many day survivors were mourning multiple family members killed in the flash floods that swept away entire homes and buried the villages of Bushu Hushu and Niamukubi, both in South Kivu province, in muck and debris. Humanitarian workers have spent days recovering mud-caked bodies from the wrecked villages in Kalahi territory, where days of torrential rain triggered landslide and caused rivers to break their banks on Thursday. South Kivu Governor Teo Ngwabije Kasih announced the death toll of over 400 people confirmed dead, more than double since Friday. Civil society sources on the ground expect it to rise further as bodies were still floating in rivers and buried under wreckage. According to the United Nations, hundreds of people remain unaccounted for. Climate experts say warming temperatures due to climate change are increasing the intensity and frequency of Africa's rain. Poor urban planning and weak infrastructure also make it more vulnerable to such events. Recovery teams were bringing bodies to the surface on Sunday after 27 gold miners died in a fire in a small gold mine in southern Peru. The miners' bodies were taken to a morgue in Arequipa, where relatives of the victims gathered to get more information about their loved ones. In a statement, the local government said a short circuit sparked the fire in the early morning hours of Saturday in the southern region of Arequipa. The mine is operated by the Yana Kuihua, a small-scale firm. The company did not immediately respond to a request for the comment. Peru is the world's top gold producer and second largest copper producer. According to data from Peru's Ministry of Energy and Mines, the incident is the single deadliest mining accident since 2000. In 2002, 38 people were killed in mining accidents nationwide, highlighting safety concerns in Latin American mining. Peru had its deadliest year in 2002 when 73 people died in different mining accidents. Malaysia team knocked out of SEA Games football event. That and more next in sports. Malaysia failed to reach the target of qualifying for the finals after losing to defending champions Vietnam 1-2 in the third Group B action of the 2023 SEA Games men's football competition. The defeat at Prince Stadium, here in which the Harimau Muda finished with 9 players on the field, meant they have only collected 3 points from 3 matches so far. Vietnam, who recorded their third consecutive victory after overcoming El Alvarense's men, will join Thailand in the knockout round, as both have secured 9 points, with the latter thrashing Laos 4-1 in another action earlier. Alvarense was stunned when the national team fell behind in the 7th minute from an own goal by defender Ahmad Zikri Mohamed Khalili, while Van Tung added salt to injury with a header goal in the 33rd minute. Malaysia pulled one back through midfielder Muhammad Aiman Mohamed Afizul in the 43rd minute, but striker Muhammad Alif Izwan Yuslan missed a golden chance to equalise with only the keeper to beat in the 45th minute. While the team's momentum in the second half was affected as Muhammad Safwan Mazlan and Muhammad Najmuddin Akmal Kamal Akmal were sent off by the Japanese referee Junpei Lida. The Harimau Muda are scheduled to play Singapore in the final group match at the same venue on Thursday. Al Nassr were held to a 1-1 draw at home to 14th place Al Khalij yesterday as Cristiano Ronaldo's team failed to keep the pressure on Saudi Pro League leader Al Ittihad. Fabio Martins opened the scoring for the visitors in the 4th minute before Spanish defender Alvaro Gonzalez equalized 13 minutes later with a header from a free kick. Ronaldo endured a frustrating night, including having a second-half goal ruled out for offsides as his side dropped 2 crucial points in the title race with just 4 matches remaining. Ronaldo could not get on the score sheet and did not look very happy when a member of the opposing team's staff tried to get a selfie with him as he left the pitch. Al Nassr had 22 shots but just 6 on target, while they also had 2/3 of the possession and nearly double as many passes. Al Nassr sit in second in the league standings on 57 points, 5 behind Al Ittihad, to ease past 10th place Abha 4-0 in the late Monday game. Ronaldo has scored 12 in 13 appearances since moving to Saudi Arabia after his contract at Manchester United was ripped up. The 2022 World Cup host nation Qatar prepares to host another international tournament next year, with the draw for the Asian Cup scheduled for 11th May. The draw is set to take place at the Qatar Opera House in the country's capital, Doha. The Asian Football Confederation AFC confirmed back in April that the Cup will be held in Qatar from 12th January to 10th February 2024. The quadrennial Continental Championship was awarded to China in 2019, but the world's most populous country relinquished the rights in 2022 as it pursued a zero-COVID policy. The 24-team tournament has been moved from mid-2023 to early 2024 to avoid the heat of the Gulf summer. Qatar has staged the Asian Cup twice in 1988 and 2011, and it won the last tournament, which was held in the United Arab Emirates in 2019. The FC said the tournament will be staged across 8 stadiums, 6 of which were used during the World Cup. Qatar, as the reigning champions and the host nation, will be placed in Group A, the first of 6 group consisting of 4 teams at the tournament. Other top-seeded countries at the tournament will be 4 times winners Japan, 3-time champion Saudi Arabia, 3 times winners Iran, 2-time winners South Korea, and 2015 champion Australia. Iraq, the only other former Asian champion, will be in Pot 2, while the tournament only the buttons Tajikistan are to be drawn from Pot 4. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola insisted his players must avoid falling into a trap of trying to avenge last season's dramatic semi-final defeat to Real Madrid in the Champions League as they prepare to face the same rival at the same stage of the tournament. Guardiola distanced himself to a comment made by Rodri earlier in their news conference yesterday, with the Spanish midfielder saying he was looking forward to taking revenge against Real.
We are not here for a revenge. It's just another opportunity. As much we are here, one day we'll get it. One day we'll reach the final and we will win it. We come here to do this season. But the set is completely different the previous one. No, last season also we came here to reach the final and win it. But didn't happen because we play against Real Madrid. And Real Madrid in this competition knows exactly what you have to do. And as much we play against them or against the top elite teams in Europe, much closer we'll be.
After beating Real Madrid 4-3 in a thriller in the first leg, last year in Manchester City saw the Spanish Giants fight back from the brink of elimination to beat them 3-1 after extra time and advance to the final, which they won. Meanwhile, Real Madrid boss Carlo Ancelotti believes that gaining a mental advantage over Manchester City will be as important as the result when the two teams met at Santiago Bernabeu. Ancelotti said that beating Osasuna 2-1 to clinch the Copa del Rey title on Saturday had given his side a much-needed confidence boost after a run of poor result as they prepare to host Pep Guardiola's team, who are in superb form. While the Italian knows his side will have to be at their best to beat City, he said that gaining an edge over your opponent can be in the mind as well as on the scoreboard. Ancelotti said that his side are not preparing a special plan to stop City striker Erling Haaland, although he praised the Norwegian's stunning form and the spark he brings to City's attack. Haaland set a Premier League scoring record last week when he netted his 35th goal of the campaign. Despite talking about the need for a balanced approach when asked about his strategy for Tuesday's clash, Ancelotti stressed that defending must be their main priority. Real's veterans midfielder Toni Kroos also stressed the importance of taking their chances if they are to beat a well-oiled machine like Man City. Argentina's World Cup winning captain Lionel Messi was named the Laureate Sportsman of the Year, while sprint champion Shirley-Ann Fraser-Pryce bagged the top women's honour at the awards ceremony yesterday. Messi also received an award on behalf of the Argentina's men's football team, who were named World Team of the Year after their triumph at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. The 35-year-old Paris Saint-Germain forward has previously won the award once before, sharing it with the Formula One driver Lewis Hamilton in 2020. Messi also became the first athlete to scoop both the World Sportsman of the Year award and the World Team of the Year award in the same year. Jamaican Fraser-Pryce enjoyed an outstanding 2022, which included winning the 100-meter gold at the World Athletics Championship. Tennis player Carlos Alcaraz, who won the 2022 US Open and rose to the number 1 in the ATP rankings, was named the Laureate World Breakthrough of the Year. The Laureate World Sports Awards nominees are selected by the global media, while the winners are determined by 71 members of the Laureate World Sports Academy. The awards have been presented annually since their inception in 2000. Australian Michael Matthews timed his final effort to perfection to win a rain-affected stage 3 at the Giro d'Italia yesterday, following a 216-kilometre ride from Vasto to Melfi. Matthews and Mats Pedersen were neck to neck until the final corner, but the Australian moved in front on the home straight to emerge victorious and claim a first stage win at the Giro since 2015. Track Segafredo's Pedersen finished second ahead of Caden Groves from Alpecin Disunic and Vincenzo Albanese from Eolo Cometa. Curta Excel, Italia riders Alexander Konchev and Valko Stonic were the early pace setters, leading the stage for the first half of the race before being reeled by the main group with 37 kilometres to go. Belgian Ivan Opel extended his lead after taking 3 bonus seconds to tighten his grip on the leader's Maguila Rose jersey, while Raul Almeida recovered from a fall in slippery conditions to move up to second. Primoz Roglic, who was eclipsed by rival Ivan Opel in the intermediate sprint, climbed to third. Tuesday stage 4 is a 175-kilometre ride from Venosa to Lago Laceno, which features 2 long and manageable ascents before culminating in a steep climb and a flat finish. That concludes today's edition of Updates at Noon. In our top story, young talent should be given space and freedom for artistic talents. Do tune in to Malaysia Tonight, coming up later at 8:30 p.m. on saluran Berita RTM. You can also stream it via RTM's mobile click app. I'm SAHIH. Thank you for watching.